Hello everyone and welcome back to DMG. How big of a laptop can you get? Well, almost always the cutoff is at 17 inches, and that's pretty fair because a 17-inch laptop is quite large. This is, of course, the DV9700 from HP, and this is a pretty damn big laptop. Well, around 2007, HP tried to redefine what a laptop could be. And the result was the HDX 9300. And unlike the other massive laptop from this era, I can actually call the HDX 9300 a laptop. And I'll get into a bit of what that means later. But this is easily the biggest laptop I have ever seen. On its own, the HDX 9300 is a fascinating piece of hardware, but also looking at it through the lens of an era-appropriate competitor to the XPS M2010, it does about everything better. Better performance, better reliability, much easier upgradability, better sound. And also, it's about 5 pounds lighter, and it's a good deal thinner as well. So, I mean, it's ridiculous to even talk about the portability of a 21-inch laptop, but again, this is actually a laptop, and I'll show you what I mean. The XPS M2010 doesn't do this. Well, I'll talk about that a bit later, but let's start with the ports, as always. On the left side, you have pretty much every port mankind has ever seen. 2 USB 2, gigabit LAN, HP expansion port, VGA, HDMI, eSATA, FireWire 400, SD, MMC, XD, all that stuff, card reader, express card slot. On the front, 3 headphone jacks, as is Pavilion typical. On the right side, 2 more USB, LightScribe DVD writer, Kensington lock. On the back, you'll find your 2 fans, your charging port, 5.1 audio out, and then a funky little set of inputs. 2 for antennas, one like a headphone jack size and one coaxial, and an S-video. And those aren't outputs, those are inputs, because this actually features a TV tuner / analog video capture card, just like the TouchSmart IQ770 that's sitting over there. So you can actually use it with radio stations, analog digital TV, and of course analog video input, which is lovely. And well, of course, the feature that sticks out is the big ass hinge. It's a really, really big hinge. And most of the laptop's weight is focused entirely at the back, because that's where the hinge is. But the hinge is smaller and a good bit of a different design as well from the XPS M2010, and it allows this machine to still be able to be defined as a laptop. And let me show you what I mean. You open up the HDX 9300 and you see it's just a big laptop. While the XPS M2010 was some sort of wacky desktop replacement insanity, HP just made a big laptop, and this actually works massively to their advantage. Sure, it's less remembered because the design is nowhere near as outlandish. However, not dedicating like 25% of the machine's space to a keyboard and like 10% more to a stupid optical drive gives this system more room for what actually matters. Hardware, cooling, and a big subwoofer. So I'm going to fire this thing up after I plug in its charger and demonstrate just how wonderful of a system the HDX 9300 really is. Now the charger is a bit interesting, because this is the standard large barrel jack that HP started using around 2008, 2009-ish. This, as far as I know, is the first laptop from HP to feature this charger that would soon become standard. Most of HP's laptops at this time, in fact all of them except for this one, featured the small yellow tip charger. Yeah, I think HP just tested out their new charger with this model because, well, these are built for higher wattage. Now you'll see that mine does have a small problem. You can kind of see it. There is one line of dead pixels, but I am willing to put up with that. It's really not that big of an issue. Now, you'll soon realize that it's awkward to use a laptop of this size in typical laptop manner. You'll want to bring the screen forward and set it right there. This is my favorite feature of this machine. The hinge pivots both at the base and on the screen side, so you can adjust it to pretty much any tilt. You can also change the height. The screen is a little bit hard to move around, but I would much prefer that to loose hinges that slip out of place. Well, before going much further, I might as well discuss what's under the hood. As far as hardware, the machine is based off the PM965 chipset, and mine came configured with the T5850 processor, so that's 2 cores, 2.16 gigahertz, and 800 megahertz front side bus. There were 2 different revisions of this machine that had different graphics cards. The launch version came out with an ATI X1800 card, but it was later upgraded to the 8800M GTS, quite a powerful card, and that is the one that my system has. So we're dealing with 512 megabytes of GDDR3 memory, 500 megahertz clock on the graphics, 800 on the memory, and it is quite the capable card. And this card actually is CUDA compatible, being of the 8000 series. It has 64 little CUDA cores. There's its CUDA compatibility down there. And it runs very, very cool in this laptop. Of course, we're not doing anything right now. It's just sitting here at idle. But it's running at 45 degrees and the fan isn't even on. And before I get to testing games and applications, I do want to mention a few more media-related things. So, there is a nice row of media buttons above the keyboard here. I'll talk about that keyboard in a minute, but starting on the left, there are 3 quick play buttons. One opens the quick play application, one opens the DVD in the drive in quick play, and one opens quick play straight to the TV tuner. Then you've got your back, fast forward, play, pause, and stop controls. You've got a video button, which I've installed the HP software, but I can't tell what this does. I assume it opened an application, perhaps even the webcam. Wireless on-off switch, volume mute that turns orange to tell you when it's muted, a nice volume slider that actually works quite well. It's much more responsive than that on the HDX 16, this machine's smaller successor, so absolutely wonderful. And much like the HDX 16, it also features treble and bass controls right here. So EQ controls that are done through the audio driver. Very nice and responsive buttons, easy to control, and it's lovely to have EQ control right at your fingertips. Speaking of fingertips, there's also a fingerprint scanner, a validity sensor. It works on Windows 7. This, of course, came with Vista. I am running Windows 7 on it, but you can run Windows 10 on this machine with no problem. Now onto the keyboard. It's off-center. This bothers me. It is off-center from the screen. It takes a lot of getting used to, because when you use a laptop, you expect the keyboard to be centered with the screen. Of course, it is still centered with the touchpad, which does feel quite nice, by the way. It's nicely textured. but the keyboard spacebar lines up with the touchpad, but it doesn't line up with the center of the machine. So I find myself frequently missing keys, but it is shifted over to the right to accommodate the built-in remote, which has many of the same functions as those media keys, but of course it's portable. It works over infrared, it has a ton of buttons, and it is a standard Windows Media Center remote. So there's an IR receiver down on the front, and there is also an IR receiver in the dock for the remote. So when the remote is inside the laptop, wow, very, very nice Windows Media Center. Wow, thank you for that, Media Center. That's cool. But it has a sensor in the dock so that you can still actually use the remote while it is placed inside the laptop, which is a really lovely detail. Just like the M2010, the screen on this system is only 1680 by 1050. It's not a bad resolution for a laptop at this time, but it's not a good resolution for a machine of this giant size either. The HDX 16, which came out only a couple years later, in fact less than that, did 1080p at 16 inches, and the XPS M1710, which is a little older, actually did 1920 by 1200 at 17 inches. So it is a little baffling why we're stuck with 1680 by 1050. The display doesn't look bad though. In fact, it is quite a nice display. But where this system really shines in multimedia are with the speakers. Altec Lansing, just like every other Pavilion, and it has a discrete subwoofer in the bottom, and you will hear it is very effective. The subwoofer on this machine you feel just as much as you hear, because it vibrates whatever surface it is on with an unparalleled intensity for a laptop. The sound that comes out of this system is remarkable. It absolutely gets down in bass frequencies, and that is because the subwoofer is larger than the XPS M2010s, and the mid-range speakers are better. On the XPS M2010, the subwoofer was small, and it was also trying to compensate for inadequate mid-bass frequencies produced by the awful tiny treble speakers. However, in the HDX 9300, or the HDX Dragon as HP called it, well, these speakers are actually really good. In fact, just on their own without the subwoofer, they still sound better than most laptops. Now, something I don't usually get to talk about with laptops is the sound stage, but I've had an opportunity to talk about it with the TouchSmart, the M2010, and now most recently the Dragon. This has the best sound stage I have ever heard from a portable desktop replacement, and that encompasses a couple components. First of all, the speakers are far enough apart. After all, they are like 1.5 feet apart. They're far enough apart so you can really tell left from right. So that really increases immersion in, like, first of all, just music, and also movies and games that have sound effects that go from one side of the screen to the other as you move, things like that. And soundstage also means discernibility of instruments. You can tell instruments apart with these speakers. They have a remarkable amount of clarity, and that's because the tiny mid-range speakers aren't forced to produce bass. So all of the bass is sequestered to the subwoofer, and these speakers actually have a cutoff frequency. So their treble and mid-range and high response is not bogged down by trying to produce bass. So again, Altec Lansing, they know what they're doing with speakers. So, very glad that HP has them on board for all of their pavilions, but especially this. One more interesting hardware detail before we get into some tests and benchmarks is the storage. System originally came with two of these. Seagate Momentus 7200.2, 120GB. Had two of these in RAID 0. Striped. So 240GB that was usable by the operating system, and of course you get the speed benefit of both drives. Miraculously, both of the original drives were working when I got this laptop. Pretty impressive. But I did swap out one of them for an SSD, and I just have files on the secondary drive. This is a very demanding game. Came out 2 years after this laptop did, in fact, in 2010. Well, the original version with the ATI card came out later, but the Nvidia GeForce version, which I have, with the 8800, did come out a little later, a couple months later. And as you can see, it is handling it very impressively. Wow, I was not looking as hard as I should have been for that curve. So it's running absolutely fantastically, not a single stutter in sight, and again, this is the absolute maximum setting, although the anti-aliasing is not quite as high as it possibly could be. Oh, there we go, that was a good one. Should probably turn down the screen brightness a little bit, but I mean, it is running absolutely gorgeously. I have never seen a portable computer run this game nearly this well. And again, I feel comfortable calling this a laptop, because unlike the XPS, it's really just a massive laptop. It does still fall into the desktop replacement category, but due to its form factor, yeah, I'm still comfortable with calling this a laptop. So this is by far the fastest graphics card I've ever seen in a laptop. Actually, this is faster than some desktops I have from the era as well, because this 8800 GTS card is just mind-blowingly fast. Now, before I have too much fun, I should probably wrap it up. Oh no! Oh no! I almost went over the side there. So, I mean, it runs absolutely wonderfully. That is not one of the more demanding maps in this game, but the problem is not the graphics card, it's the CPU. Look at that. It was pretty much maxed out the whole time we were playing. So, well, fan suddenly decided it needed to ramp up. But yeah, the CPU was completely maxed out the whole time. I'm considering upgrading this to the maximum configuration with the Core 2 Extreme chip, because that would just be a better pairing. Let's try... what's a good one? Hollywood Hills chip... no, that's literally what we just did. Ooh. How about we do the computer-destroying map? Russian Hill. I have no damn clue why this level runs like hot garbage on every computer on the planet. I have never had this run well. It runs at better frame rates on better computers, but there's always stutters, like these big freezes. And I don't know why. It's like, maybe it's like that one level in Mario 64 where they just forgot to use compiler optimizations. I don't know. But there's this one particular hill that when you drive over it, you're just hit with lag. There's our first couple stutters. Now this is much better than this level usually performs. Yeah. And I think it's about right here where the big lag hits. Yeah, it's right there. There's always like a massive freeze there for no reason. I can't figure out why. Now this is a very CPU heavy map. It's very CPU heavy level, but I've played this on a lot of different CPUs and it has the same problem on like Core 2 quads and desktop GeForce 8800 GTX cards. So, I mean, all things considered, it's handling this level better than most computers do, especially since I primarily look at laptops on this channel. But I feel like this poorly optimized level is not the best indication of this system's performance. Oh! That deep bass note was a big subwoofer vibration there. Yeah, it's a little bit laggy. Again, I'd put that up to the CPU though, not the graphics. Jeez. So, if you haven't played Blur, it is insane, and I highly recommend that everyone play it, because it is absolutely ridiculous, it is loads of fun, it's a very good-looking game, very fast-paced. You know that line of dead pixels? I never notice it. It's only when I specifically look for it that I actually notice it. I mean, of course, that's not a problem anyone else is going to have to contend with this laptop, unless someone steals mine, then, well, then you'll have other problems, because I will hunt you down. But if you happen to get one with dead pixels in the same spot as mine, it's really not that bad. Wow. This is on pretty much the maximum graphics settings, although I did turn down anti-aliasing and shadows, because that was absolutely slaughtering my performance. I forgot where I was in the story. I've played... Whoa. Where am I going? I've played like an hour. Actually, no, I played like 2 hours of this game on this computer. And it's a pretty big open world game. And it's running absolutely wonderfully. Hello, pedestrians. 800 meters in 45 seconds without hitting anything? Are you kidding? That's impossible. Oh god, it's, No! No! Oh, so pedestrian hits don't count. Wait, what? I'm so confused. I hit like 8 people, and it didn't count as a hit. But I hit a bump in the road and it did. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to mute the audio or else I will get a copyright claim. No! Oh, that was close. Well, clearly it's running absolutely wonderfully. Oh yeah, here we go. So, clearly, I mean, this is... It's a little GTA-esque. I'll just refer to it as that, because it's an open-world game with car. It is a game with car, where you can kind of drive anywhere, and there are missions scattered around the world, and it's a really fun game. And it runs beautifully, and looks absolutely gorgeous on this computer. So, I mean, this is like a pretty constant, at least 45 plus. You've been kind of seeing that there have not been lag spikes or stutters or really anything. Yeah, we'll keep it on normal quality, and we will turn off motion blur. We'll go ahead and just run that benchmark. Okay, so we got pretty decent score. Minimum of 18 frames, maximum of 27, and an average of 23. This is a 2013 game. It's a good deal newer than this hardware. And again, I would bet that the CPU is the bottleneck. Alright, now that we're actually playing the game, it's actually running a lot better in this cave than it was in the benchmark, and that makes sense. There's less to draw inside this cave. You also can't see very much. I'm sorry about that. What am I picking up? There we go. Frame rate dropped a little when I picked up that torch. Still running fine though. Again, this is a 2013 game running on a very capable graphics card, but a lower-end mobile processor from like 2007. So if this was paired with a Core 2 quad, this system would be absolutely incredible. So Tomb Raider actually runs pretty great, but the benchmark wasn't the best. Now Ice Tomb, we're just gonna go straight for Ice Tomb because that is the GPU heavy map, and it is running perfectly. Of course, I'm playing Unreal Tournament 2004 at max settings, as always. I have never seen Ice Tomb run anywhere near this well on a laptop. I've only seen desktop cards get anywhere close to this level of performance. But that's what an 8800 GTS will do for you, I suppose. Absolutely insane performance. And if you want to see some comparisons, check out some other videos, really any other video from me covering a laptop, because this map is notoriously demanding. Really well so far. Damn. Cheating. Hacking. The bot is hacking. Yeah, I mean, this is running... again, the best I've ever seen from a laptop. Like, not a single stutter, not a single lag spike. This is, of course, a game that is older than the laptop this time. But it is running gorgeously. Oh, hello. Goodbye. You respawned right there. Pikachu, I'm so sorry. Okay, so clearly it's running fine. How about Crisis? Whoa, there goes the fan. Yeah, every now and then the fan just kicks in really hard for a couple seconds, and then goodbye, there it goes. There we go. Now we can play as Robert Crisis. This is actually running way better than it was in that intro cutscene. This is running really, really well. I mean, there's not much sploding happening. There's not much shooting and kabooming and pow and bam. I've run out of night vision, I believe. Yeah, I mean, this is running really, really well. Yeah, there we... Whoa. Oh. Come on. I think... Okay, yeah, that was mostly hard drive lag, just loading in all of the new stuff. So I think a blend of medium and high settings would be the ideal, because high... I mean, this is still above 30, but there's a bit more input lag, so I think a blend of the medium and high presets would serve you best for the Crisis. Good water effects. Hell yeah. Wow, and the shot down trees still have physics? Amazing. Damn, Nvidia was really doing some cool shit back in 2007. Anyway, Crisis runs quite well unless you're in that one cutscene where it ran at like 10 frames a second. Oh yeah, that's the shit right there. Oh yeah. Hit and run? I hardly know her. This game is incredible, and it's running incredibly on this laptop, which is incredible. Bit of a little large lag spike, although, oh, I'm seeing the hard drive light. I think this is because I put this game on the spinning disk. I mean, look at that, we've got screen tearing. We're pumping out way more than 60 frames per second, therefore, but we're driving too fast, and it can't load the assets from the hard drive. So I'm going to turn around and go back to the areas we've already driven, and yeah, look at that, screen tearing. So, I mean, I've got this on, like, really good settings. So, oh boy. Oh, I wish I'd put this on the SSD. Oh. It's a little bit crusty. There's a little bit of crusting going on. Get bonked. Get bonked. Oh boy. Again, I put it on, I put this on the hard drive because I only have 120 gigs on the SSD in this system. So there's not too much free space on that drive. So some of the lag is actually hard drive. Although, you know. Oh boy. Oh boy. Help. Evil question mark bad. Oh god. So this is running a lot better. I guess because the character models are less complex. It's just some fucking question marks that I'm shooting. Huh? Oh god. Oh yeah. This is actually running great. Again, this is like a 2013 game. It's like 5-6 years newer than the laptop. Medium settings, but again... Oh god, this game is insane. But again, I would bet a lot of the limitation is in the CPU, not in the graphics card. Because this, again, is a mobile processor and not a particularly high-end one. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. No. No! What is this gun? That is ridiculous. Oh. Oh. Oh, hi. Nowhere is safe. So... I'm having too much fun again. This happens when I play a game on laptop, in video. I have too much fun, and I forget to talk about performance. It's running good. Oh, damn. He had a... Oh my god, double! There's one more. Come out. Ah, yes! Oh. Yeah, it's running worse. Unsurprisingly. So many damn zombies. Oh, shit. Oh, boy. Why even use the gun? Oh, God. Oh, God. That was... Oh, no. Okay. This is running wonderfully. I've never seen BioShock run this well on a laptop of this era. Had to add some new games to my test suite and pull out some old ones I hadn't tested in a while. Because, wow. This system is very, very fast. My volume down button is, why? Why is that happening? Why is my volume down button opening a menu? It still works, but it opens that menu. That's so weird. So we'll go a little further, but I mean, this is absolutely wonderful performance. This is stellar, stunning, and I will, look at that, tearing. So we're getting over 60 frames a second. Yeah, this looks gorgeous. Again, we're getting screen tearing, so that means over 60 frames a second. Of course, you would want to turn on VSync, but I intentionally don't, so that, well, I mean, it's an easy measure of, am I getting over 60 frames? Absolutely wonderful. This isn't a pre-rendered or FMV cutscene. This is running on the hardware, and it's clearly running very, very, very well. Yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. That's pretty much the games I wanted to try out. So that's it for our test section, and that wraps it up for the HP HDX Dragon as a whole. So thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, because I sure did enjoy making it on this machine. This is my new favorite thing I have. This is the best thing ever, and you cannot talk me off of that ledge. This is incredible. It is the XPS M2010 done right. Instead of going for a gimmicky keyboard and a gimmicky CD drive and wasting so much space that they had to go for inferior hardware, they put the effort in where it mattered. They actually just built a really, really big laptop with a really big hinge to support its really big screen, so they had space for a very, very fast graphics card and a great subwoofer and space to cool all of the hardware. So HDX 9300 is absolutely incredible. If you can manage to find one, I highly recommend picking one up. Best gaming experience ever. Even if it is not the fastest, it provides an experience like no other. You will never find another like 20-inch laptop, because, well, they just don't make stuff like this anymore. So that's gonna wrap it up. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you'll come back and watch some more videos, because I love making content on crazy, weird stuff.